Tropical fruits. We all love them, but we have been told that the only way to get them is to buy the overpriced, underripe swill in grocery stores because it is just too cold where we live to grow them ourselves. Well, friends, what if I told you that that is not the case? What if I told you that tropical-style fruit trees could be grown hundreds of miles further north than you ever thought possible? It's true. Here in North Carolina, I'm growing dozens of these types of trees, and many of you can too. This video will feature 5 tropical-style fruit trees that people with freezing cold winters can grow in-ground in their backyard. And while I live in an area of North Carolina that has been recently upgraded to a weak Zone 8B, you do not need to live in Zone 8 to grow all of these. This list will begin with the least cold-hardy trees, but every tree will become more and more cold-hardy as the list progresses. In fact, the final fruit tree is so cold-hardy that you can grow it all the way down to Zone 4. Yes, we are talking about tropical fruits grown as far north as Minnesota, or as the locals say, Minnesota, right? Don't ask me how to pronounce words, people. I'm from New Jersey. Tropical fruit number 1 will grow all the way down to Zone 8, and that is the avocado tree. Most people are stunned when I tell them that I have been growing avocados in ground in North Carolina for 6 years now, and I have been harvesting them for the past 2 years. And this has been one of my easiest, lowest maintenance trees that I grow. That is because avocado trees come from 3 distinct races: the Mexican race, the Guatemalan race, and the West Indian race. And most of the avocados that we get in stores are primarily Guatemalan lineage, and when you see the larger Florida avocados, those are primarily the West Indian lineage, and they are only tolerant to light frosts and freezes, sometimes no frost and freeze at all. But the Mexican race of avocados come from the subtropical highlands of Mexico, and they adapted to tolerate hard frosts and freezes. Mexican avocados are less known because they are not commercial cultivars. That's because they have very thin skin, so they can't ship really well. However, if you do your research, you will learn that there are a tremendous number of Mexican lineage avocados that are cold hardy all the way down to 15 degrees Fahrenheit for a brief period of time. This variety is called Lila. It is a pure Mexican avocado. It is cold hardy to around the 15-degree Fahrenheit range. And because it is a natural semi-dwarf, I'm able to keep it only at about 6 to 7 feet tall year-round. And then when we get weather in the low 20s, I simply put incandescent Christmas lights on it. I turn them on. I put a plant jacket over them. I have an additional water barrel behind here for a little bit of extra warmth. And it is more than enough to get me through my Zone 8 winters. Yes, I do protect my cold-sensitive trees a few nights a year to get them through the winter. I use very simple techniques. I will place a link down in the video description to a playlist that shows you all of these different techniques. These are the incandescent Christmas lights. These are the water barrels I use to give a little bit of radiative heat. It is all so easy to do. You can see how thick this trunk has gotten over the years just using these cold protection methods. It has been a breeze. So successful have I been that I'm also growing a Stewart avocado in my rear property in a raised bed. This is another cold-hardy, semi-dwarf avocado that will be easy to keep small and protect, and it has a water barrel for protection only. I just know this will do well. If you want to be a Zone 8 avocado grower, some varieties I recommend you look into are Lila, Stewart, Mexicola, Mexicola Grande, Poncho, Fantastic, and Joey. Tropical fruit number 2 will grow all the way down to the coldest Zone 8s, possibly even to the warmest Zone 7Bs, and that is citrus. Citrus has a reputation of being very tender to frost and freeze, but that's only true to some varieties. Most varieties can tolerate frost and freeze, and some varieties that produce commercial quality fruits are hardy all the way into the teens or even colder. This variety right here is called an Owari Satsuma, which is a true orange, and this was the first fruit tree I ever planted in my yard. It is 6 years old, and every year for the past 3 years, it has been producing bumper crops of oranges. This year it is loaded. It's going to give me at least 50 pounds of oranges probably more. This tree, when mature, can tolerate temperatures all the way down to 12 degrees Fahrenheit. In fact, I barely cover this in the wintertime. Anytime we get a night that's going to be 20 degrees or lower, I pretty much just throw a fitted sheet over it. Maybe I'll throw some incandescent Christmas lights on it and turn them on. This doesn't even get a water barrel. The simple southern exposure of my house is really enough of a microclimate to keep it warm. So successful have I been growing this tree that it has given me the confidence to grow 9 varieties of citrus in ground. I'm currently growing Owari Satsuma, Meyer Lemon, Cara Cara Red Navel Orange, Meiwa Kumquat, Brown Select Satsuma, Moro Blood Oranges, a Eustace Limequat, a Sugar Bell, and an Ichang Lemon. My Meyer Lemon is my least cold hardy variety that I'm growing in ground, but I've been doing it successfully for 4 years, and I protect it in the exact same way that I protect my avocado. And you can see the incredible bumper crop of lemons that are on this tree. Last year, this probably gave me over 50 lemons. This year, it's probably going to be closer to 100. You can see them all stacked in the bottom of the tree. It's going to be an amazing lemon season. In the rear property is the Cara Cara, the Meiwa Kumquat, which is just as hardy as my Owari Satsuma, my Brown Select Satsuma, which is just as hardy and even earlier than the Owari by a few weeks, and it's loaded up with fruit. I put a Moro Blood Orange in ground, and then right next to it, my new experimental Eustace Limequat. So all of these cold hardy citrus give me commercial quality fruits, and they have been a walk in the park to grow. And against the northern exposure in my front yard is my beautiful new Sugar Bell tree, which is only about a year and a half old, and it is doing fantastic. And then over here, right next to some fruiting North Carolina grown bananas, is a seed grown Ichang lemon, which is one of the most cold hardy lemons known. If you live outside of Zone 8 in a milder Zone 7B and you want to experiment with growing citrus in ground, I recommend you try Yutsu and Sudachi, which are similar to lemons and sour oranges that are popular in a wide variety of cooking. If you're looking for a source of grafted citrus, I get all of my grafted citrus from Mackenzie Farms in Scranton, South Carolina. If you give Stan Mackenzie a call, he'll take an order over the phone and he will ship you what you need. Tropical Fruit 3 is the easiest fruit that I grow in my entire yard, and that is the feijoa, also known as pineapple guava. And despite the pineapple guava name, it actually is not a guava at all. It is a flowering, fruiting myrtle plant, and it produces bumper crops of some of the most interesting fruits that I've ever seen that fall to the ground when ripe. You simply pick up the fruits after they've fallen, and then you eat them. It is that simple. What I love about this tree is how simple it is to grow. It is cold hardy to nearly 0 degrees Fahrenheit. You can plant it pretty close to your house because it's basically just a shrub and the roots aren't very invasive. It has no pests, no diseases, and it is truly one of the easiest, lowest maintenance things that I grow. Feijoa comes from the subtropical highlands of Brazil, Peru, and Argentina, and they produce some very interesting fruits. Now, the feijoa that I'm growing is a seedling, so it is not a select variety. So for that reason, it produces smaller fruits, but you can get selected named varieties that produce much larger fruits. Just be careful and make sure if you buy a named variety, it's self-fertile, because some varieties require cross-pollination, and you will have to have 2 unique cultivars to cross-pollinate. Now, if I could describe the fruit to you, I would say this is nature's sweet tart. The skin is very tart, the inside is very sweet. The skin kind of tastes like a citrus, and the inside kind of tastes like a pear. So if I break this open for you, you can see a delicious looking pear-like interior. I think that that is kind of the best flavor I could give you. It almost tastes like a very ripe pear that you dip in lemon juice. It's really, truly delicious. This is why you simply must grow this. There is no other fruit on earth like this, and the only way to get it is to grow it yourself. Tropical style fruit number 4 is the Asian persimmon, and they are hardy down to zone 6 or 7 depending on the cultivars that you select. Now, unlike American persimmons, which are native to North America, have little tiny fruits that are loaded with seeds, your Asian persimmons produce bumper crops of very large fruits, and they are all self-fertile, and as long as you grow them in the absence of a male pollinizer variety, they will be completely seedless. And as you can see, this tree is locked up like Fort Knox because I'm not the only one that wants a piece of this tree. Every raccoon, possum, and squirrel in the Tri-County area wants the fruit on this tree because they are incredible. This is a cultivar called Giambo, and it is one of the most tender of the Asian persimmons. This is only hardy to zone 7, but it produces enormous crops of enormous fruits. They are the size of bell peppers, and this is an astringent variety of Asian persimmon. You have to wait until the fruits become soft, like a bag of jello, to eat them, and if you wait, you will be rewarded with one of the most delicious experiences of your life. In fact, it looks like I have a nice, soft, ripe Giambo persimmon right here. You can tell it's ripe because when you press on it, it will leave a thumbprint. That is just about there. Astringent persimmons such as this have a naturally high tannin content, so if you eat them when they're still firm, it will suck all of the moisture out of your mouth, sort of like a really dry red wine, but to the 10th power. Once they get nice and soft though, you will be rewarded with one of the most pleasurable eating experiences of your life. Inside, they will be like a bag of jello, and they will just drip juice, as you see right here, and the inside will be like cinnamon spice and honey. Believe me when I tell you, this will be one of the most incredible fruit experiences of your life. This may be the best fruit tree I have ever grown, bar none. It is just absolutely incredible. Like I said, honey, cinnamon, pumpkin spice, it is out of this world. And what's amazing about these, they get even sweeter after frost. So many of us can grow these into November and December, and they get better with the colder temperatures. But there are also non-astringent cultivars of Asian persimmons. This variety right here that you see locked down like Fort Knox is a non-astringent cultivar called Ichikikejiro, and it is hardy down to zone 6, making it one of the most cold hardy of the Asian persimmon varieties. But it's also a dwarf tree, and it won't get very much bigger than this. This tree, believe it or not, is going on its 4th year, and this isn't much bigger than it is ever going to get. Now, the fruits on this tree have the flexibility of being eaten hard like an apple or letting it ripen into a soft gelatinous goo like that Asian persimmon that I just showed you. Now, when you let them ripen fully, they taste almost as delicious as that Giambo does, but because you're allowed to eat these when they are firm due to their naturally low tannin content, you can start harvesting early. So when you grow both a non-astringent Asian persimmon and an astringent variety together, you can start harvesting the non-astringents as early as maybe September, and then you can drag out the astringent harvest all the way until something like Thanksgiving to Christmas, depending on your climate. So you can be harvesting persimmons in your yard and garden for months. Tropical fruit tree number 5 is North America's largest native fruit tree, and it can tolerate temperatures all the way down to zone 4, and that is the pawpaw tree. Now, many of you may be saying, well, pawpaw is not really a tropical fruit. Actually, it kind of is. You see, pawpaws are taxonomically called Asimina triloba, genus and species, which is in the family Ananaceae, that. Well, anyway, that family is in the same family as the custard apple, the cherimoya, the sweet sop, and the sour sop. And the genus Asimina is the only genus within this family not confined to the tropics. However, the fruit itself have the same tropical characteristics, meaning you can actually grow tropical style fruit in ground in Minnesota if you were to grow pawpaw trees. In fact, centuries ago, the pawpaw was called the Appalachian banana because it has a very tropical banana-like flavor and it grows in the Appalachian Mountains. In fact, the pawpaw was George Washington's favorite fruit. They would ripen in September and October, and he would harvest them and leave them outside overnight, and then the next day, while they were still cold, he would come outside and scoop out a chilled pawpaw, which has a custard-like texture with a banana-like flavor, because after all, it is in the tropical custard apple family. Now, while pawpaw trees are incredible, they do have a couple of downsides. Almost all of the cultivars are not self-fertile, so you at least need two unique trees that are not genetically the same cultivar for cross-pollination. And the other downside is they tend to take a long time to fruit. Even if you get grafted trees, it's probably going to take 3 or 4 years for the trees to flower. Mine started flowering for me on my 3rd season. This year was the 4th season, and I had nice flowers on my pawpaw trees, but for some reason, and I don't know why, the graft on this pawpaw tree right here died. So I lost my Naomi's Delicious variety that used to be right here. Now the rootstock, which is a seed-grown rootstock, did survive, so it's setting up new shoots. What I'm probably going to have to do is buy new budwood next year and graft a known variety onto one of them, and then maybe I'll let one of the shoots also continue to grow, and I'll have a 2-in-1 pawpaw tree right here, so I'll have 3 varieties cross-pollinating. But nevertheless, if you want to grow tropical fruit in the coldest climates possible, the pawpaw is your best bet. Now, about this time, you're probably asking, where can I actually buy all of these fruit trees? Well, over the years, I've made many videos on where to buy fruit trees, so I'm going to cut in a little clip that shows you everywhere I like buying my fruit trees online. One Green World, Just Fruits and Exotics, Rain Tree Nursery, Four Winds Growers, Bay Laurel Nursery, Peaceful Heritage Nursery, Bottoms Nursery, Plant Me Green, Plantogram, Bob Wells Nursery, Burnt Ridge Nursery, Cummins Nursery, Off the Beaten Path Nursery, Handpick Nursery, Bright Leaf, Edible Landscaping, Stark Brothers, Logis, Restoring Eden, Willis Orchard Co., Trees of Antiquity, and my personal favorite for buying citrus is Mackenzie Farms of Scranton, South Carolina. I get almost all of my citrus, all of my grafted citrus, from Stan Mackenzie of Mackenzie Farms, but you actually have to call him to order the citrus. So I recommend you look him up on Google Maps, Mackenzie Farms, Scranton, South Carolina. Give him a call and he will ship the citrus trees to you. And that right there are 5 tropical style fruits that you can grow in ground in very cold zones with freezing winters, all the way down to zone 4 in some cases. So everybody, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and please ring that notification bell so you're notified when I release more videos like these. If you have any questions about any of the trees that I mentioned in this video, ask them down in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. If you're curious about any of the products that I use in real life in my garden, they are all linked down below in my Amazon storefront, link in the video description. So expand the video description, click on the Amazon storefront link, you'll see everything I use in real life. And while you're down there, please check out my custom merch if you want to support the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Hey Dale, what do you see over there? Do you notice something in the pond? Ooh, what do we have here? There's a gator head poking out, and I'm not talking about you, buddy. I'm talking about that gator right there. Ooh, they're going to start going in for the winter soon because it's getting to be the middle of October. Dale doesn't care about gators. All he wants to do is sniff around because this is where all the other dogs in the neighborhood go pee. All right, buddy. Enjoy reading those pee mails, buddy. Enjoy reading those pee mails. Can we go now? Let's go home.